little sharks, it is the inflatable sea lion here, and today I'm doing an extremely requested video, and that is guppy care. Now everything I say, I'm going to say guppy for everything, but everything I say implies for the fish guppies, mollies, and endlers, as well as platies, but some of the things won't really imply for platies. So, guppies, endlers, and mollies. So, first, I'm going to talk about breeding. A lot of people keep guppies because they want to breed them. Now, you can't breed them unless you know the gender of your guppies. So, pretty much you're going to look below the caudal fin, which is the fin they use for swimming. The fin in the very back, it should be a little bit below it. There should be a fin. It will either look like a triangle or a really long pointy fin. If it is long and pointy, then you have a male guppy, molly, or endler. It is called a gonopodium, and that's what they use to breed. If it is triangular shaped, you have yourself a female guppy, molly, or endler. They can all be kept together and they can all interbreed. Guppies, mollies, and endlers. So that's how you know the gender of your guppies, or whatever you have, alright? So, guppies breed on their own as long as you have enough tank space and you have the right conditions. So let's talk about the conditions you need to have for your guppies. You need to have the right pH. The right pH ranges from 6.8 to 7.8 for your guppies, endlers, or mollies. As well, you need to have the right temperature, which needs to be somewhere between, I would say, 73 and 80. I wouldn't try to go at 80, but your guppies, endlers, and mollies will always need a heater unless you live in a really hot climate. So, they are tropical fish, so they need a heater. Alright, besides pH and temperature, you need to also have the right tank size. This is extremely important because guppies will outbreed your tank size sometimes, especially if you decide on separating the fry and keeping them. So it is really important that you have plenty of space for your guppies, endlers, and mollies. Alright, now, to have your guppies breed successfully and live happily, there is a ratio that you need to follow, which is the males versus females ratio. For every male, you need at least 2 females. So every male, you should have 2 to 3 females. This is extremely important so you don't outstress the females by the vigorous males constantly trying to breed with them. They need to have a little bit of time away from the males, and they need to take breaks from breeding. And this is important so they're not stressed and your females will live longer. Talking about their lifespan, guppies can live up to 2 to 5 years. So you need to make sure they're in the right conditions so they live a long and happy life. Now, talking about tank size like we were earlier, you can keep a guppy by itself. And if you want to keep a guppy by itself, a 2.5 to 5 gallon tank is a great size. You should never keep any more than 1 guppy unless you have a 5 gallon tank. You have room for 2 guppies. However, you should not keep the fry if you have a 5 gallon tank. But the only way you should attempt breeding guppies or keeping more than 2 is if you have a 10 gallon. In a 10 gallon, you can have any number of guppies up to the maximum of 10 in your 10 gallon. A general rule of thumb is 1 guppy a gallon, but this never implies when we're talking about a 1 gallon fishbowl. You should not keep a guppy in a fishbowl because that is not a proper home, and your guppies will not be happy. Imagine yourself living in a tiny 5 by 5 foot square room. You wouldn't be very happy because there's not that much room for being active and just having fun. Talking about tank decor, your tank should be heavily planted like mine here, so your guppies can have time away from each other. Guppies are a community fish, so they can be kept with a bunch of other fish, such as gouramis, endlers, mollies, platies, and other fish ranging in the same area. Do not keep guppies, endlers, or mollies with fish that are different in pH requirements, as well as temperature, and of course, types of water. You should not keep a saltwater fish with a guppy, or even a goldfish with a guppy. Feeding. Of course, you can feed your guppies, mollies, and endlers tropical fish food flakes, but you can also give them freeze-dried brine shrimp, bloodworms, pellets, and of course the regular flakes, and mix it up and give your guppies a variety of foods. When it comes to breeding, guppies eat their own fry, so you can allow natural selection, also known as survival of the fittest, where your guppies breed with whoever they want and the best surviving fry outlive the others. This keeps the population at a great rate, as well as your fry being at the best of living conditions. Or you can choose fry and separate them to sell them, or just introduce them later in the tank. And you can separate them with a breeding box or in a separate fry nursery. This isn't recommended if you don't have a lot of space, though. Some good tank mates for guppies, since they are community fish, include their relatives such as mollies and endlers, as well as platies, some cichlids that don't get that big, peaceful plecos that are not carnivorous, Corydoras catfish, angelfish, few gouramis, so the more peaceful ones. I have a blue gourami with my guppies, even though they tend to have not very good of a temperament, but they are pretty, aggressive. However, if you give them enough space, this isn't enough space, what I have now, this is actually bad quality, because this is a temporary tank until we're moving and I'm gonna pack my fish, but all that stuff, you know. You can even keep betta fish with them. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions about keeping guppies, mollies, endlers, betta fish, gouramis, or anything that I have in my tank, leave a question below. If you have any questions about pregnant guppies, how to tell if your guppies are pregnant, also leave a suggestion, or like this video so I can make a tutorial on that. Thanks for watching. Good luck keeping your guppies, endlers, and mollies, and see you, little sharks.